It's time now for America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, what's
Hi, George. Good morning. You're looking all sunshiny and bright this morning.
And so are you.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Or for the people on the radio, you sound all sunshiny and bright this morning.
Okay, great. So listen, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right in because we've got a lot of things that we want to review and make sure that we get everything in this morning. Just to bring everybody back up to date. Last week we started our conversation around debt, and my first admonishment was this: in the beginning is the word. Stop using the word insurmountable. We are no longer going to say it's insurmountable debt. We're talking about conquering the debt that we have. If that debt may be more than we wanted, it may be more than we expected, but we're conquering that debt. So I gave you 3 things that you needed to do last week, right?
Very simple things, right, Vicki?
Very, very simple things. First one was to go back and remember some of the things we talked about a couple of years ago, that you need to organize. You have to organize that debt. So in organizing that debt, meaning, first of all, these three things that I wanted you to put into a spreadsheet or into a tablet, but you needed to write it down. First of all, how much debt do I really have? Meaning, how much is the principal and who do I owe that to? Is it to Macy's? Is it to GM? Is it to your student loans? But organize that debt. Secondly, on that chart, the terms. Is it for 3 years, 5 years? Is it revolving? But we need to know what the terms are on the debt. And the third thing, what the carrying charges were. What I mean by carrying charges is actually the interest rate. So we can see what it's costing you to carry that debt. Once that was done, then I asked that you separate the debt, that you separate it between, is it regular consumer debt or is it student loan debt, so that we make sure. And if you happen to have an individual business, or you happen to have something that is not necessarily personal, put those in 2 charts. Don't commingle those things.
So what had happened was, my sister visited this weekend. It was Labor Day, and like we had a cookout. See, what had happened was,
I don't want to hear what had happened.
They're trying to hear it. Oh, come on, baby.
That would have taken you probably an hour and a half max. 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night. That should have been done. So I'm making the assumption, because I know everyone is dedicated and serious about this, about conquering your debt, that this was done, because we're going on to the next step.
Okay.
This next step is going to take more thought and reflection. So be prepared for that. And if you're a couple, married, together, whatever, if you're a couple, both of you should be involved in this at the same time. And that is, first of all, how did we get here? Look at all the things that are on the chart as far as the debts that you have, and reflect back. And you may need to pull the statements in order to do this. How did we get here? What I'm asking you, and how did we get here, is what are you consistently charging? What's the consistent pattern? Look at those categories, because we need to determine, is it something that is happening to your cash flow that's forcing you to charge these things on a consistent basis? Now, we know that your gas bills have to be charged on a consistent basis, because very few people walk around with cash in their pockets. But if you're putting,
a lot of places are asking you to use cards and not cash.
Exactly. Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's real. Okay, so if it's a required function because of the way business has to be transacted, that's not what I'm most concerned about. What I'm concerned about is that if every month we are going to Target, for example, and picking up an extra $50, $100, $200 worth of some item consistently, possibly clothing for the kids, then instead of saying and letting that be a happenstance, that needs to be built into your budget so that we know within your budget and we look at your cash flow that this is an item that is regular and we have a plan around how to account for that throughout the year.
Can I just say one good thing?
Yes.
I did pay off one department store card.
George.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right.
Victory.
Thank you.
Victory. And we have to celebrate victory. Celebrate does not mean go buy something, but celebrate me.
I did do some shopping this weekend, but yeah, still.
All right then. So we need to have that heart to heart, really analyze what's happening. How did we get there?
Yeah.
And then the second or third step, okay, for this week is this. Looking at all of the cards that you have or all of the debt that you have, particularly credit cards is what I'm talking about here. I want you to choose which cards you are going to freeze. Understand, I didn't say cancel. Do not cancel the cards. I said freeze. We are not going to use going forward.
Now,
because
when you say freeze, Vicki, do you mean actually calling up the institution?
No. I mean,
put it aside and we're not using it.
Put it aside, we're not using it.
Okay.
Because when we get ready to determine how we're going to pay these off, if we're continually adding, there's no progress.
I like that idea. Okay. So basically, put them aside.
Put them aside. So we need to look at, analyze what's going on, and then determine which card or cards, more than likely will be cards, that you're going to freeze so that we have a primary vehicle, but we know all of these others are frozen and those balances are not going up anymore, and we can really start chopping them down like wood if there's no more activity. So at this point in time, and I want to say it again, because it's really important, do not cancel the cards.
Right.
Because if you recall, we talked about something called the usage ratio.
Yes.
And when you cancel cards, you have an impact on your credit report that we don't want to have happen at this point in time. So George, at this point in time, if anyone has any questions or would like to reach out to us, give us a call at 315-930-4499, or you can reach us at info@Brackens, Brackens, FSN.com. And of course, like us on Facebook, reach out to us on Twitter, and definitely subscribe to Brackens Financial Solutions Network on YouTube. And for that, at this point, I'll say our plate is full.
All right, Vicki. And just to reiterate, we're going to analyze how we got here. And then we're going to freeze, but not calling the bank or anything. We're just going to be physically putting those cards aside and don't do that. All right.
Yeah, that's correct. Those two things.
So we're conquering debt. Remember that language. We're conquering debt. This is our plan, and we're going to do it together. You and
exactly. All right.
Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. But you and I know her as America's Money Maven.